and welcome to the first edition of Targets in Focus for this trading week. Now, to kickstart the week, I'm joined on the phone now by Antje Praefcke, a senior FX strategist at Commerzbank in Frankfurt, to discuss several G10 currencies. Hi Antje. Now, in the week ahead, we've got important economic data and major central bank rate decisions from both the US and Canada. And no doubt investors will also be closely watching both central bank rate statements that follow, in particular for Canada, for any indication of the future possible direction of monetary policy. What kind of movement are you expecting from dollar CAD over the next few quarters and looking further forward?
Well, actually, the most important event is tomorrow's rate decision in Canada. Last week, Central Bank Governor Mark Carney held a speech, and he omitted, which was quite surprising for the market, his hawkish bias. And now the market is focused on the fact if the Bank of Canada will tomorrow, in its official statement, skip this sentence as well. We think that's pretty possible because due to the continued global uncertainty in the market and the slowdown we have seen in the third quarter, it's possible, and we think it's likely, that the Bank of Canada will lower its inflation and its growth forecast. And in parallel to this, we think it's going to skip this sentence. However, in our view, the Bank of Canada is far from cutting rates. So we will only see a shift from its hawkish stance to a more neutral stance, but no indication of any imminent rate cut. However, based on this fact, we think there is some downside potential in the Canadian dollar, at least over this week, and some upside potential in the dollar CAD. However, overall, we think that dollar CAD over the next couple of months should roughly remain in a very tight range. The Canadian dollar, in its function as commodity currency, should remain rather stable against the US dollar, and we expect a parity to cap on the upside in dollar CAD.
Following the news of the deal reached on the EU bank supervisory and the outlook for Greece and Spain, looking at your forecast, you're expecting a significantly weaker euro than the level we are at now. What scenarios have you built your current euro-dollar forecasts on?
Well, actually, we think that we still have uncertainty in the market concerning, for instance, a possible Spanish request of foreign aid package. And we think that it's still possible that this crisis will lead to, specifically ahead of Christmas and markets getting more liquid. So we think that increased uncertainty will weigh on the euro and will favor again the US dollar in its function as a safe haven currency. And that's why we think the crisis is likely to pop up again, to kind of like intensify again around this question of Spain asking for aid or not. And because of this, we think that euro dollar will decline until the end of the year, until 123.
Now, this week, the Riksbank board members also meet to decide on interest rates, although the market consensus is for the bank to leave its benchmark rate unchanged, having lowered rates last month. What are your views on Riksbank's policy moves and the Swedish krona in the short, mid and long term?
Well, actually, a little bit like the Bank of Canada, we think that the Riksbank will keep rates on hold, specifically as we saw an interview or an article in a magazine in Sweden last week from the central bank governor, Stefan Ingves, who pointed out again the risk of low rates on household indebtedness. And we know that debt levels in Swedish households are very high. So if you have low interest rates in the future, that may lead to fiscal imbalances and financial imbalances. So we think that the Riksbank will keep rates on hold this time at least, but it's likely anyhow to decrease and to revise down its inflation and its growth forecast a little bit due to the global uncertainties. And it's likely to lower a little bit its rate path as well, signaling that there could be another rate cut until the end of the year. And we think there will be one rate cut until the end of the year, just in order to be prepared to any further global slowdown and possible external shock to the economy. When we have a look at the Swedish krona overall, fundamentally, since the economy is still running very well, it's dependent on the Eurozone economy, but it still has a good domestic demand and a good running export industry. So we think that overall the Swedish krona should remain strong against the euro, and we rather see upside potential of the Swedish krona against the euro. Maybe not in the very short term, because there is likely to be one further rate cut of the Riksbank, but over the next couple of months we see euro-Sweden going lower.
Finally, what about the Kiwi dollar versus the US dollar and the shape of the New Zealand economy? How do you expect the New Zealand dollar versus the US dollar to perform over the next 12 months?
Well, I think the New Zealand dollar will perform rather good against the US dollar. It's a commodity currency, but overall, as long as commodity prices still remain on historically high levels, I think the Kiwi dollar will remain rather strong against the US dollar. It's certainly vulnerable to any shock to the Chinese economy, to Asian economies, and to the global economy. However, as we do not expect any collapse of the global economy, and as we think that the Chinese economy should have troughed now and then start to recover, we think that these currencies like the Australian dollar and the Kiwi dollar should remain rather firm against the US dollar over the next couple of months. And so I think Kiwi dollar against US dollar should trade around the 80 level over the next couple of months.
Antje, thank you very much again for joining us today and sharing your latest view on several G10 currencies. Now, for more technical analysis and FX projections, join us every week on Monday, Wednesday and Friday. In the meantime, there is always financial news and Forex updates on DukascopyTV to keep you in the know. So for now, goodbye.